Good morning, everybody. I cannot believe it's December already, and I see that my phone is wiggling. Look at that. Do you see that? Well, I hope it doesn't happen throughout the whole video, but if it does, it's because of the criminals. It's December 1, 2023. I can't believe it. It's the last month of the year. Well, somebody responded to one of my responses on Quora. There was a question on Quora, and of course, a lot of perpetrators post questions for us to respond to them, like they're trick questions. Do gang stalkers poison? So before I get into it, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please hit the thumbs up. I appreciate all of your questions and comments. And I was going to post another video last night, but guess what happened? Yes, the losers, the criminals that are targeting me through very loud tinnitus in my inner ears put me to sleep with radio frequencies. Not once, but twice. And they do it with radio frequencies and hypnosis and sleep deprivation. So for all of you people that don't believe this is happening, it certainly is. I don't get V2K, but I don't know what's worse, is hearing stupid people speak to you 24/7 or having extremely loud noise in your inner ears that cause them to vibrate and put you to sleep so that you're ineffective. And that's pretty much what they want. I mean, they take up a huge part of my evening when the animals are asleep and I'm relaxed and I've eaten dinner to do work, and they knock me out for several hours. So anyway, do gang stalkers poison? Okay, so we're going to preface the fact that gang stalkers are a community. They're neighbors, they're infraguard, they're private contractors, retired military, agents, fusion center operatives. It's a whole bunch of people. And most of them report back to my favorite Bureau of Instigation, right? So these are psychological operations and experiments, just the way they're spraying the skies and doing all kinds of other things with targeted individuals. They're using us to experiment on, harass, torment, because everything that they are not, we are. And they abhor. They are envious, jealous, and greedy. They are using us to incite crime where there is not. They want every action from us so they could reprogram their AI. And yes, they use poisons. So my response to this, do gang stalkers poison, is yes, they poison the interior of your residence with dust, nanotechnology. They poison your food, rot your food, burn food, create fungus in food, and even in newly purchased organic food. They infect your pets' water, poison their food and bedding. Under a black light, you can see yellow, drippy substances on surfaces and in your bathroom. There are white, powdery substances that form on the interior of windows. So there is a response that I received from a woman named Lynn. And she says, this is a fairly long response, so that's why I'm going to repeat it here. She says, I've been targeted since working at a school here in Florida. I contacted my teachers union to tell them I was resigning a teacher job that I was serving in, but I wanted to see if the district could use me somewhere else before I completely left the position. I said I just didn't feel like it was the right fit for my current position. I simply sent a resignation letter to administration and picked up my items and never heard back from them. Now, in and of itself is bizarre, folks. I'm a former corporate human resources manager. I hired and fired people. I interviewed people for a living. This is highly unusual. Human resources people don't let people come and go from a job because generally they'll have keys to the residence, to the business. They'll have a password to a computer. They'll have keys, not only personal belongings, but they need to complete exit forms. There's usually forms when people resign or are fired. because they have benefits. So all of this stuff needs a signature. So this is very bizarre and highly suspect that that after she picked up her items, she never heard back from them. Very bizarre. But here you go, she says. Right after that, I began to be targeted in my community here in Florida. My home was poisoned, for I could smell certain odors through the walls and vents of my home. And this is very common, that they pour things inside your vents. I don't have vents here. I don't have that kind of a system here. This is like a tiny cabin. But they did in Manalapan, New Jersey, and I would get my vents cleaned out. And then there are things that you can do for your vents. If maybe we'll discuss that another time. She says, my Wi-Fi and ADT security system was hacked, and phone calls were infiltrated. I began to stay at hotel rooms, and I'm stalked there as well. It's mostly racist with me, but there are those that have been used against me. It's really bad for me. I've contacted local police and fire department who came out and said they could only test for carbon monoxide. It's a damn shame for an entire community to take part in poisoning anyone and continue to call themselves human or any type of godly being. For your wickedness, you won't see God. I recently moved from that neighborhood here in Florida. And that same day, I began to get closer to a certain time I was supposed to be done packing. I began to hear gunshots in the community. I knew then that the realtor that I was working with was informing the neighbors of my very private business in terms of my home sales. Sound familiar, folks? Yeah, I hired a realtor. She didn't do anything for me. And then when the contract ended, she didn't even tell me about it. Never heard from her again. That's not what realtors do. They want to relist your home. They want money. They do it for money. Well, maybe she was paid off or threatened or both. She says, furthermore, while showing my home, there is no telling who came in, who is actually interested in my home, and who is planting bugs, tracking devices, etc. I am currently stalked and poisoned as I am posting this. I'm poisoned through my mail. I can't order anything through mail anymore. I have to wear gloves when I pick up and open my mail. You know what? That's a good point. Good idea, girl. I've called the local police who claims to have tested the mail, but that's no way possible. My car is poisoned and tampered with. Some police are definitely involved. This all started with my calling my union, so it's definitely a form of whistleblowing. But it should not have gotten beyond me and the union rep, for all I did was offer my services to the district in another capacity. And things have gotten to the point of near death, stalking, poisoning myself, my pets. My friend who lives with me is a vet and is now on oxygen. America, Florida, what an evil empire. But God watches your every move, and He will repay. So that was one response. Another person writes, this is my existence in a nutshell. Never go to the same grocery store back to back. Rarely eat out unless you are cool with the owner, and be mindful. This is spoken about in the book of Lamentations in the Bible. We all have nanotechnology and magnets in us. There's metal in the air, aluminum and barium. They spray human plasma, which is strange. Alchemy? Stay active. Stay in the gym. Drink clean filtered water. Drink dandelion tea. And take sea moss. And shilgit. I don't know how to pronounce this. Shilgit. I have it. I'm telling you guys, it's disgusting. And as soon as I got it, the criminals took a third of it out of the container, which is like a thick, gooey. I'm telling you, it almost looks like rancid oil from a vehicle. and potassium and magnesium. Another person writes, gang stalkers put gas spray and other chemicals into target's home through holes in the walls and ceiling. Targeted Individual's Handbook and Gang Stalker's Manual is out on Quora. That's the evidence that gang stalking is real. Let's see. Any other replies here? Oh, this person writes, I was given cyanide 2 different times. Somehow I'm still here. When I have a recording of them talking about how they gave it to me, to 3 others who died. Imagine? Horrible. These criminals would put just enough bleach in his Brita filter container for him to taste. They will do anything. Another person writes, their existence is poison. Now, another person is giving some advice here, and this is good advice. Research and keep activated charcoal powder on hand. It is available to bind with ingested toxins and carry them out of the body. Whole Foods sells their own 365 brand 5 ounces for $15.99. And this person also says they just invested in a Hoover carpet and upholstery cleaner. They also invested in ADT self-setup security system. It came with a Google Nest camera, which I have set up inside my apartment. It came with a window and door sensors and a motion detector for $40 a month. The police will be dispatched if I don't respond to an alarm alert. I can remotely see inside my apartment live from my phone. It's all a matter of educating oneself and basically fighting fire with fire. And remember that we are dealing with cowards whose goal is to push us to take our own lives. I have so much more to say on this issue, but I've already given too much away of my time and energy to these pathetic wastes of space cowards. One last thing above all else, don't forget to keep living your best lives ever. Activated charcoal is really good, folks. Another one is a bentonite clay. Bentonite clay, you can ingest it. You can sprinkle a teeny little bit in your pet food, just a teeny little bit. It helps get rid of parasites. And also, if you get a bug bite, if you get a DARPA insect bite, you know, those really powerful ones that target certain parts of your body intentionally, like on command, you can mix bentonite clay with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, like a tiny little bit, and form it into a paste and apply it to the sting. And literally, the itch goes away, and the whole thing, it goes away in a couple of days. It's like a miracle. I'm not a doctor. So do your own research, but the bentonite clay mixed with apple cider vinegar works really wonders. But yes, the activated charcoal is great. It must be great. You know why? Because I have it in a tablet form. And when I went to take one, after not having taken one in a while, it appears as if some loser shook it up so that all the green powder was everywhere and that all the tablets had lost their form and some of them were broken. So yes, they come in and sabotage your vitamins, your minerals, supplements, whatever it is. And they are cowards. I say it all the time. Show your face, loser. Look at me in the eye. Show your face, losers. Or maybe I've seen you already. Like, I know when I moved here, people were like driving up and down my driveway thinking that they own the place. I remember there's like I call them like the bicycle gang, like a couple of guys on motorcycles with a hat and goggles, black, so that you can't see them, drove up my driveway and like literally face to face with me, but refused to take off their goggles. And I just stand up to these people. I'm sorry. It's my property. You come onto my property, I'm going to stand up to you. Like the loser when I first moved here, drives into my driveway, and when I drove down to meet them, I just moved here. I'm living in my car. And I know he's a Freemason. So yeah, you don't have to tell me otherwise. I know his name. I guess he thought in telling me his name he was relieving himself of any karmic debt that he would incur, which is false. But he gave me my name and I remembered it. And he pulled up with his alleged brother. And he said, well, why are you approaching my car? I'm thinking, like, is this guy insane? He just drove into my driveway and he's asking me why I approached his car. And I said to him, you just drove into my driveway. Why are you here? So he could not even look at me in the eye. He was looking around my head. You know how somebody's looking at you and they're looking on the sides of your head because they can't look at you? It's sort of like, when you're taught, like if you're giving a speech in front of an audience or your class and you're nervous, the teacher always tells you, don't look at people eye to eye, like look around them because you're so nervous. And I remember doing that when I had to give a lecture in undergraduate school. I was so nervous. And that's exactly what I did. I looked around people. I didn't look at them in the eye. It would make me nervous while I was giving a speech. But that's what these losers do. They pull into your driveway and they think if you approach them that it's not your right. Like, why did you approach my car? You're in my driveway? I wonder how they would respond if somebody pulled into their driveway and just hung out there. But I look forward to your questions and comments about poisons. Have you noticed any unusual powdery or glittery substances? Have you taken a black light and gone around the interior of your apartment, your house, even outside your clothing? Have you looked on your pets with a black light? So, and have you noticed any of this like yellow drippy stuff? You cannot see it in regular light. You can only see it with the lights out under black light. And I noticed tons of it in Manalapan, New Jersey. I would stay up with Clorox bleach, like rubbing it off the walls in the bathroom. And then when you turn the lights on, you don't see it at all. It's like so bizarre. The same thing, well, with white powdery stuff you can see. You can see it during the daylight. And I have lots of photos of that stuff. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I will be reading more of Global Thuggery. Everybody seems to be enjoying that book. I am as well. And I'm going to sign off for now. Happy December. Remember to hit the thumbs up, like, comment, and share.